We want to use the law of sines or cosines to solve this triangle, and I see in this triangle I have side, side, side. So I can't use the law of sines because I don't have an angle and a side opposite it. We're going to need to use the law of cosines in a little different way. So if we want to find this angle A, we are going to take the side opposite it, which is 125. That one squared equals the sum of the squares of the other two sides, so 115 squared plus 100 squared minus 2 times the product of those two sides. So 2 times 115 times 100 times the cosine of the angle in between those two sides, and that's angle A. So now we need to do some algebra to get the cosine A by itself. So we've got the 125 squared. We're going to move this over, minus 115 squared. Move the 100 squared over, minus 100 squared. So that took care of those two. But this is hooked onto cosine now. So if I cross these out, if I moved them over, it's hooked onto cosine with multiplication. So the way we're going to get cosine A by itself is to divide by all that stuff. Negative 2 times 115 times 100. Okay, so now if we want to find that angle, cosine A, we're going to take the cosine inverse to undo the cosine to find A, and so we have cosine inverse over here, and it's of this whole thing. Now, something to be careful about when you put this in the calculator, if you hit the cos inverse, it'll make a parenthesis to start what's inside the cos inverse, but you need to let it know that the whole thing is on the top, so you need a parenthesis around the entire numerator of the fraction, and you need a parenthesis around the entire denominator. If you left those red parentheses off when it's calculating this, it would only divide the minus 100 squared by the minus 2, and the other stuff would get subtracted on the top, and on the bottom these other things would get multiplied on the end. So you've got to put those parentheses there so it knows what goes where. So let's go ahead and put this in the calculator then. I'm in degrees. I do inverse cosine, and then I need, there's the parenthesis to start it, but I need a parenthesis to start the numerator. Then 125 and hit the squared button, and then minus 115, hit the squared button, and then minus 100, hit the squared button, parenthesis to end the top, then hit the divided by, parenthesis to start the bottom. It's negative 2. I need to use the negative button, not the minus button. Negative 2 times 115 times 100, parenthesis to end the bottom of the fraction, parenthesis to end the inverse cosine. Okay, and it looks like we get A is 70.7 to 1 decimal place, so A is 70.7 degrees. Now this is all it asked for in this problem, is to find A, but once we have this, we have an angle and a side opposite pair, so we could use the law of sines to find another angle if we needed another angle.